Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Premier Esports League. It is, of course, JACKOCAR, and it's round 3 of the mystery season. As you can see, we are this week in Great Britain, Silverstone, or Northamptonshire, whatever you want to say, but it is the home of motor racing. And speaking of home, it will feel a little bit like home tonight because of my co-commentator. Enjoy the comfort and the warmth of the Northern Irish voice. That is Owen Wyatt. Good evening.
I feel like that's one of your nicest intros. It's because I was on time this week for once.
It was nice because I can't even find the right thing here. It's nice, Owen, because we've only got 36 races left, so it's starting to get a bit sad. Because everyone will cry when it's gone, let me tell you.
You see, this is where I've been clever because I've been missing so many races over the last 4 seasons that really it's already half gone for me.
It's we're still yet to work out whether the league will actually be replaced, but ultimately I don't think it can be replaced.
Well, to be fair, you've got Jake starting his own leagues now. We had the first race of that on Monday. Was it VEC? So he's a possible league racer maker in coming years.
It was something, wasn't it? I don't know what it's bloody called. They wouldn't meet my demands though to commentate for them.
Which is poor, really, because you would have seen Samba winning, me finishing second, Casper mugging off Whitesea at the end. It was an ERT masterclass. A bit like this league as well. ERT's taking over all these leagues. It was a good race, though. Just ignore your demands. You should be in the comms box for the next one. Or racing, or whatever you want.
We shall see. Although I have looked at the calendar, I don't think I'm very available. However, enough of promoting shit leagues, because I'm not a fan of that. We shall move on to the matter at hand, and the first thing is week 3, Kyle Smith is not here. So we'll switch our attention to the German, Mr. Mike Kelterborn. Here he is leaving the pit lane. Owen, I'm going to leave you to commentate for the next 30 seconds or so because I have to check Instagram apparently.
Oh wow. Priorities. So,
Clearly.
Mike Kelterborn exiting the pits. He is one of just 3 full-time drivers this season yet to score a point, which is, I suppose, kind of expected from him. He's waiting for his Canada race, isn't he, to get his form up. But as always, he's out there with the purple livery, looking very nice indeed. But I would love to know what his strategy is here because he's so far off the track and cutting back across the grass. I don't know if he's just asleep at the wheel or something, but he's back on track now. And as usual, it's the one-shot qualifying system that we've been using for a very, very long time now. 18 corners around the Silverstone circuit, which has been renewed until 2034. As Gareth was saying on Twitter earlier, it's going to cost you a small mortgage to get into the place, but still, it's nice to see the track surviving, having been bankrupt a couple of years ago. And it's just a shame NK Bourne can't stay on it.
Yes, thank you for that, Owen. The small detour to Instagram I made was a message from Mr. Yuri Hazelager, and he's saying that he and Michel Goris follow a certain Instagram model called Pamela Rai, because she's another German, and apparently Michel is not as big a fan as myself and Yuri, so I believe Michel Goris is the first homosexual to race in the Cup Series, but more on that as it unfolds. Attention, however, must turn to this wonderful track that Owen has delightfully delivered some information to you on. I hope I wasn't listening. But anyway, we shall go on board with young Mike Kelterborn from northern Germany. So this is the wing on your right. It leads down to turn 1. Of course, the DRS will be open. Don't cut the inside, and also don't run wide as we find ourselves in the middle of turn 2, and then braking hard for turn 3, the first braking point on this track before almost like a hammerhead style corner, the left-hander here at 4, which leads us nicely into 5 onto the next DRS zone. And this is it, correct me if I'm wrong, the Wellington straight?
You are correct.
Thank you very much, which puts us into turn 6 then, where Hamilton made that wonderful move a few years ago. and many others around this track that we shall point out over tonight's broadcast. But Mike Kelterborn gets the power down and puts us onto the old pit straight, which will lead us into Copse, where Hamilton, of course, ended Max Verstappen's day. Don't come across the driver's line and you won't get binned off. But through goes Mike Kelterborn and then into Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. One of the best bits of Formula One circuitry there is in the world. I don't know if that's a word, but it sounded good. And this will lead us into the final DRS zone of the Silverstone Straight. And this one, Owen Wright, is it the Hangar Straight? It must be.
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
Thank you very much. And this then is Stowe Corner. If I'm wrong, I'm very sorry. But Mike has hooked this lap up quite nicely, actually, for a first run out. And finally into the club section. And this is where all the expensive seats are on the left, as you can see. And this puts us back onto the main straight then. Mike Kelterborn, it's a 1:27.1 to kick things off this evening.
So naturally you would expect that lap to get beaten, but it's not going to be beaten by Risky, who's managed to invalidate his lap somewhere out there. He is the third of three drivers, Kyle Smith not here, the other one, who has no points this season, so very poor from those three. And, well, Risky at least will be going from the back, so that means we can put our focus on to OKK, assuming he's here. He's not here, is he? He's not arrived yet.
He has not arrived yet, so it gives us a very quick opportunity to say that tonight's stage points are, saw that Risky, are lap 4 and lap 19. That means you must pit on lap 20 or after for your second mandatory stop. And the one and only joker this evening is Peter Knighton, who, as you can see, is still in the garage. So we will look at the One Hub Racing owner, Mr. Nick Egan, who is on his out lap, so we're going to get a whole lap on board.
Yeah, we're good. Well, hold on. Leroy is out there on a lap, and I want to talk about his livery.
Oh, so he is. My apologies.
I don't know if it's meant to be like the maroon Ferrari back in, Mugello, but I oddly like this. It's a bit too brown, but I oddly really like it. I don't know if he's needed this all season or not, but he's got the Charles Leclerc helmet on there as well. Bit unoriginal. But the livery itself looks quite nice as he heads down towards Copse Corner. I do wonder, actually, if Hamilton's murder on Verstappen would have been allowed in the JACKOCAR rules, just because you mentioned it earlier on. I suppose
it depends who was on the inside. Whoever I liked more.
As that's a bit wide through Chapel, but it's not losing the back end like NK Bourne was. A tricky section through there. It's where you'd want to maybe pack the downforce up a little bit for qualifying, just to be able to stay stable through there. As he comes out of Stowe towards the Vale chicane, Leroy Hasselager. It looks like a relatively decent lap. And Club Corner, easy to lose the back end through here if you put your foot down too early. Don't touch that curb on the inside, and it's P1.
There you go. And now it's Nick Egan. I believe, by the way, that's the first time in, since we've been doing this qualifying format since season 2, that's the first time I've actually skipped a driver. Co-commentators have skipped drivers in the past, but I personally have never done it. So apologies to Leroy Hasselager. Back at the track where he had that awful Championship 5 night in season 7, obviously that it going that night to Jake O'Sullivan. But here is Nick Egan then, back in JACKOCAR once again. He said he really would quite like a win and a pole. He certainly has the speed for it. Owen White alluded to that earlier on with this new Endurance League thing. I don't know what it is. But anyway, here's Nick Egan to the line. What can he do? It's a 26-1. And half a second clear of Leroy. So next up will be the man who won in season 7. It's Jake O'Sullivan. It was the champion that year.
That has got to be one of the all-time best liveries we've ever seen. Look at that. That is wonderful.
Well, when we get an off-board shot of it, Owen, we'll have a look.
Yeah, well, it brings me back to the ILR days. I'm sure it's probably not what it's meant to be, but it's certainly the ILR colours. Very, very nice indeed. But will it bring the speed as Jake heads towards the Vale chicane? You'd expect him to be at the front, wouldn't you? He's won championships here before, he's won races before, he knows what he's doing here, and this should be fastest. But it isn't. Nick is quicker by 2/100ths of a second. I would call that an upset. No offence to Nick, but knowing Jake's sort of resume, you would expect him to be quicker.
We haven't seen Jake hit top form yet with this mystery calendar, so perhaps the lack of practice is really hurting him. Here's Pete Knighton, by the way, but a lot of people have guessed that tonight's track would be Silverstone.
You sort of gave it away, didn't you, when you were saying how good he'd be here?
When I said Pete will win tonight, it is the best track to do a Joker on, and he is the Joker. He also goes P3. I gave it away a little bit, but not that much, so maybe I'll have to say less next week. Jori Hazelager is next to Owen Wyatt. What do we think of him? He's Dutch.
We like Dutchies. We like his livery as well. I don't know if he's actually trying to copy all the F1 teams by going nice and dark, but I don't know. Part of me likes it. I've never seen a car lose it on that curb coming out of Chapel. But luckily he held on to it. It takes a nice wide entry into Stowe, keeps the speed up. The car in front of him weaves a little bit. That would put him off, possibly a teeny weeny smudge. Way too slow into the Vale chicane now. I don't know what was going on there. Is he out of fuel or something? He's out of fuel, I think. He's out of fuel. Or is he? I don't know. Just seemed very stunted there, his acceleration. Very odd. But not the quickest end to his lap. I think that could have been really near the top of the last set. It was a bit more clean.
Well, when you consider he was only half a second off a pole, it was a shame. He would... Oh, invalidation for Michel Goris. So Jori can definitely go quicker. He is good round here, don't forget. Won him many times in Kia Series. But Michel Goris will start towards the back and will also forego his lap here. So we'll move our attention to one of the Kia drivers. It is Matt Lester. And speaking of the Kia Series, guess what returns for its 7th season on Tuesday night? It is the Kia Series. It is back, and it starts off with a bang in Monaco. Can't we all wait?
Well, we know from the Cup Series that tends to lead to airborne accidents, so I would tune into that if I were you. Now, Lesty, another driver with a good livery. I've not seen a set of liveries this... Oh, he's done exactly what Michel Goris did. Oh, dear. Right, back to my livery chat. I've not seen a set of liveries this good, because obviously I wasn't here the first 2 races, I wasn't able to go on about them, but I've not seen a set of liveries this good since the very early days. These lot are doing me very proud.
This is on the same week that I announced there would be no throwback week this season because the livery templates are awful.
They are a bit rubbish.
They are.
Well with them.
Yeah, they're awful for throwbacks, but for the modern designs like this one, your new champion, they're not too bad. It's Ben Shaw. Of course, that famous night in Vegas saw him finally become a JACKOCAR champion, and he's back at one of the tracks where he lost one of his 4 unsuccessful visits to a Championship 5. Not a track that he favours, and a track where I don't think he's ever had a podium here, which is surprising for our now all-time points leader. Overtook the record from Jamie Wright last week with his finish in Belgium, P4 it was. Goes very wide at Copse.
Nice track limits. I'm surprised more drivers haven't at least tried to do that, actually. But Ben does get away with it, even though we did see it live on air. I'm going to assume the gold on there is for the championship, because quite frankly, I know it's nice and all, but I think the blue would have still been nicer on that template. But well, let him enjoy his championship. He's bottled enough of them, hasn't he? Got to let him enjoy one. As he comes through Stowe and once again into the Vale chicane. I mean, I don't know, are we expecting him to be at the front here as well? As you say, he's not been the quickest here in the past, and he's not going to be. Nick is staying at the top here, which is impressive for him, has to be said. And
let's have a chat live on air with Corey Dalton. Corey, talk to us.
Yeah, what's happening, lad?
No, you can't set a lap. You can do an installation lap, though. Okay, thank you very much. That was Corey Dalton, everybody. He has forgotten to go out. So that's a shame for him. We'll move on to Danny Quinn, shall we?
Lovely livery once again. These lot are doing so much better than the real F1 teams. It's not even funny.
Awful, isn't it?
It's this season's going to be so ugly.
Oh, to be fair, all the big teams are still yet to release their cars. I mean, unless you class McLaren as a big team.
You see when Aston Martin showed up with a bloody black car with a line stripped through it and leaving the sport.
Don't. Here's Quinn, by the way. Top 5 last week. He's actually having a very impressive opening couple of races to this season. Nobody expected it to. Maybe the mystery calendar favours a driver like Danny Quinn. We see him here in the final complex of corners. Can he? He qualified, I think, 5th or 7th last week, something like that. Across the line he goes then. He goes P4 for now. Good lap once again, very respectable. A track he likes.
2 tenths then separating the top 5. This is very competitive indeed. Although only 8 laps have been set though, so there has been the odd mishap here or there. But Ben Harrett, another driver we would expect to be quick. He picked up a couple of wins, didn't he, last season? And we know he can pretty much win. I reckon he can win pretty much anywhere. He's just one of those drivers now. Ever since he came in a long time ago. He's become one of the best drivers out there, I think. I still think he's underrated in this league.
Hugely.
But as he comes on the final corner, it's not quite top 5. It's P6, 3 tenths off. But, what's Gareth doing in the top 5? That's just sad. Look at it. You can't see what I can see, but his big face is just sat there. And it's just, someone get rid of it.
For those of you wondering what big moment there. For those of you wondering what Owen Wyatt is on about, if you refer back to the JACKOCAR _ Twitter account, the qualifying order is available to view there. And Gareth is at the top of the right-hand side, what we now call the Fast 5. He is the first of those 5. And yeah, Gareth, as ever, qualifies badly and makes his way up through the field. And that's why he's always so high in the standings and just... It's basically a waiting game for him to get knocked out in Mexico yet again in the round of 6. Have I given something away?
I would argue you have.
No.
For the culture, man, for the culture.
This is JACKOCAR. Anything can happen. But yeah, Gareth, through the final corner he comes in the awfully bright highlighter car. And across the line he goes. P9 sets him up beautifully for what will be probably a P13 start. Because here comes... Cornley, the ginger man, back. Okay, never mind. Right. Shall we move on to the...
Khalifa's more important. He's going to be right up at the front, I would have thought, with this lap. And
he's all yours.
Superb livery, I must say. His usual colours, and he's got a lovely wee bit of gold on the side as well. And look, you would expect this to be a Khalifa pole or a Casper pole, or possibly a Kieran pole. We'll see. But as he heads up towards Copse Corner, Khalifa, will he exploit the track limits? He's certainly exploiting the curb all the way in, and he does go a little bit wide on the exit. He tapped the red curbs on the inside bit, and that he would be happy about that. He says you can go flat through here, and he's gone nearly flat. A little bit wide on the way into Chapel, but not the end of the world, and of course he will have a slipstream waiting for him. He always does, and it's been very well executed indeed. As into Stowe Corner he goes. He set a 1 minute 2.3 in the middle sector. That certainly looks competitive. Will it be the first lap into 1 minute 25? Let's see. Gets nicely onto the apex and the entry veil and the exit as well. Good turn in for Club, and it will be fastest by almost half a second.
He was so committed through Copse Corner as well. You saw or heard my reaction. Let's see if he can stay top unless Kieran or Casper can pull out a magical lap to go faster than Khalifa here at the closing stage of the qualifying. Nick Egan won't be happy. He won't get his JACKOCAR pole today. But Kieran, through the final corner he comes. The season 6 champion. Can he put it anywhere near pole position? It's P2. It's a good lap. One more to go. Owen Wyatt. It's Casper Klein.
And he gets a slipstream back off of Khalifa. Not as strong as the one he gave out, but it will still help him throughout the lap. As he heads through, I think the most difficult corner on the track, Luffield, because you can do so many different lines through there. But Casper seems to get out of it okay. Now, let's see how he gets through Copse. If I'm him, I would be on that curb, but not on the inside curb, as much as Khalifa was, and that was a lot smoother. That will be gaining in time all the way through towards Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see how committed he is through here now. I would say not as committed, to be honest with you, but he gets out of it slightly better online, but a bit slower. It is even with Khalifa's time. No slipstream here though. Remember, Khalifa would have gained about a 10th through that. And again, I'd say he's not as quick through Stowe, misses the line a little bit. This will be close. I would expect it to go P2, but let's see how he gets through the final corner. Took 2 attempts to get into both parts of the Vale Chicane and through Club. Let's see, where's Casper? Oh, he just misses out.
Great effort.
Not 6.4 of a second, and Khalifa weaves his way into the pits. He's on pole.
And all those years ago when we came up with this qualifying format, why'd you put the fast guys out last? That's why. What a great ending. The final 3 guys that were out are the first 3 guys on the grid for Silverstone. What a fantastic ending. Great laps from all 3. But Khalifa, the pick of the bunch with that, another pole position for him as he extends his all-time record of most poles in JACKOCAR over anybody else. What an ending.
Impressive stuff there, and it was good teamwork from Casper. It was arguably too good, because when Khalifa gave his tow, it was for about a second, whereas Casper gave him the whole straight, and that was actually the difference between pole and P2. So I'm sure Khalifa will be silently sitting there thinking, I picked a really good place to give him a tow, because it really did not help him.
There you go. So it's another playoff point for Khalifa then. Pole position puts him level with Arnaud de Grief, who's not here this week. Casper P2, Kieran P3 in amongst the ERT drivers there because Nick Egan is 4th. Jake O'Sullivan, can he recover his season? He's P5. Ben Shaw 6th. Danny Quinn says he's happy with P7. Pete Knight in the Joker in 8th. That's a good place to be. Ben Harrop, potential race winner. You know what he's like. Owen White told you he's 9th. Yori Hazelager is 10th. And you know what we say about the rest, Owen? They're rubbish. So we're not going to give him any credit at all.
Yeah.
But, by the way, OKK did make it in, so it's going to be a 19-car race. And remember, there is no formation lap, so we've got a bit of a delay here whilst we wait for the drivers to work out their strategies. And then we'll be on our way once again for the 136th Cup Series race.
We've got a nice, sunset situation. Also, we have random time of day. And that will make the track a little bit cooler, means you can push a little bit more. I'm sure the drivers will be looking at that, hoping that the sun doesn't get into their eyes in a difficult corner, but assuming it doesn't, then I think that'll be an easier track to race on, assuming this game's realistic, which you'd hope it is. But it is a very nice sight anyway.
1 second, Mr. Wyatt, I'm just updating my own stuff, as I always do. Remember, folks, stage points come at lap 4, so really early, and then lap 19, so really late. I think it's a 26-lap race here. One joker, Peter Knighton, and he only has to make one stop, as I'm sure you're all familiar with by now.
You see, the strategy people like to go on here is soft, medium, soft. So I'm sure someone will give it a try, but that'll be very difficult. This will be one of the only times you'll ever see this track cause people possible issues with tyre wear. It depends on when safety cars and stuff come out, but it could cause issues.
And safety cars, I'm almost certain that we can assure you of. We will get one at least, won't we? By the way, hello Owen, watching from the McDonald's staff room. Scott W, friend of yours?
Well, that'd be my brother, yeah.
Oh, hello Scott W. This is the better league.
Yeah, well, he was telling me the parents are going to be delivering his work shoes up to him. So good for him.
Exciting times in Northern Ireland. Work shoes being delivered to McDonald. Absolutely not. It's 1, 2, 3 lights for now. 4 and 5 come on. And JACKOCAR, round 3, season 9 of the Cup Series, brought to you by Premier Inn, is underway. Khalifa leads from Casper, Kieran behind, and Jake has already got the jump on Nick Egan as the cars file through turns 1, 2 and 3. Casper slightly wide, but Khalifa still holds the lead into the braking zone. We see yellow flags behind. Yori has a 5-second penalty for hitting Gareth, and I think is a safety car early on, just like we had in Belgium. And it means I don't have to run out of breath. We got all the way to turn 3 before that. Not bad.
Yes. So Risky and Yuri were off. And it's Deck with a rear right puncture. I wonder if that's what caused this. And do you know what? He's going to be crawling around. Do you know what? That car's coming to a stop. I'm wondering if since it's a rear puncture he's not able to get the traction down. And this could be, unfortunately, Deck out of the race. He will have to retire this thing.
Oh, what a shame for Deck. Of course, this bit of track, you can just about see it at this speed. It is slightly uphill.
Yeah.
And then this is why Deck is going nowhere.
Oh,
go on, Deck.
That's
a reset to track, so there's an immediate 30-second penalty.
Do you know what? The thing is
he's
here,
done.
Even if you're going downhill all the way, you're not going to get this car moving, because when the rear's down like this, it's game over. It's really poor.
And there it is.
Nothing he can do about it. It's only become an issue, I think, last year. And it does slightly boggle the mind. But, well, out of the race. possibly through no fault of his own, Deck. I would be surprised if he caused the incident which gave him the puncture. Yuri and Garth both picked up, I believe, 5-second time penalties, presumably for hitting each other. But I don't think either of them have any damage. So I do think that puncture was... Oh no, sorry, Garth's got no front wing. Garth's into the pits with no front wing, so perhaps it's him who caused that puncture for Deck. Only guessing, of course, but you would sort of hedge your bets on his front wing being the thing that cut the tyre down. Now, Khalifa held on to the lead on mediums. The 3 drivers behind him were on the softs, and yeah, that could make for quite an interesting restart because they will be going for him, I would have thought.
Yep, and this will get restarted on lap 3, and of course the stage point is lap 4, so will Casper seek to take the stage away from his teammate? He has been very fast, but also very helpful, has Casper, this season, so maybe in the long run possibly doing himself out of points and wins and whatnot, and it's all well and good, but when it comes to the business end, your teammates are not your friends, because, put it this way, on championship night, it's all for themselves, isn't it? As Gareth comes out of the pit lane.
Once you get to championship night, of course, you are fighting for yourself. I think if Khalifa can manage it, he'll try and win both playoff points, but it wouldn't at all surprise me if he gave Casper the win. Because the playoff, I don't know, if he at least picks those playoff points up, then guarantees Casper getting through. Having been part of this last season, I mean, I got into a lot of trouble with Jake over this in Japan. You do sort of help your teammates out once you've won a race, or, you know, because realistically, like, I know I wasn't in the championship, but I wanted to win a race. I won a race. And then it was about helping Corey win, for instance, or helping Khalifa win, for instance, and stuff like that. But that will be the conversations that they're having.
The thing is, I feel like you might be wrong, because if you saw in the chat last week after Khalifa's win in Belgium, he said that the wins record, which is currently held by Jamie Record at 19, is in view. It's surpassable. I think Khalifa wants the wins record and possibly another championship to go with it to become the GOAT of JACKOCAR.
Well, he's got 2 seasons to do it, hasn't he?
Yeah, 36 races, in fact. Remember, we're here all the way through to 2 weeks before Christmas.
Has Yuri lost his front wing? He's into the pits now, but I'm on his own board. I don't see a front wing hanging off of it. I wonder when that's happened, because I'm pretty sure he had one when he escaped that turn 1 incident. I wish we could get a better view of it, but they are preparing a new front wing. Yeah, the whole thing's gone. No one's picked up a penalty.
He's serving his penalty as well as getting a new front wing.
Yeah, so
very clever.
It's clever, but where on earth did the wing go? But oh well, he's doesn't have to worry about it now. He's got a new one on his car. He's on the hard compound tires as well.
That's unfortunate thing. No,
that's presumably so we can get rid of them.
Yeah, so we can get rid of him.
Point.
But he certainly can't go to the end on them because, of course, that's a non-mandatory stop we've just seen. The race will restart this time around. Yuri will definitely catch up, and we have 18 cars that are going to go for 24 laps around this wonderful, wonderful historic circuit here at Silverstone, home of 2. What am I trying to say? Championship 5 filming escapades. The more recent one, the funnier of the 2, when I got kicked out of the Silverstone by a certain Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Please do watch back our Championship 5 build-ups. They are the absolute highlight of the league.
If I ever do show up in another one, I need to make sure I get a proper suit.
No, bring the orange one. Fantastic. Great times.
I do still have it, you know.
I know, of course you do. You love it.
Embarrassingly. It was good for a joke, but now I'm professional, you know what I mean?
One day, that suit is going to come in handy to you. And it won't be JACKOCAR related. You might just get invited to some sort of wedding and the theme is orange.
Listen,
Baggy orange.
when the Dutch finally invade us, when we all go to war, that'll be when it becomes useful.
By the way, Jordan Lane in the chat. Hello to you, sir, as well. By the way, Jordan, if you're listening, you are 1 race away from 100 Cup Series starts. So please do come back and get yourself under 100. Although all-time starts, you're at 100 already because of the 1 Kia start. Anyway, Khalifa is about to get things going once again. Lap 3 we will become lap 4, and a playoff point is available in 1 lap's time, but Khalifa has got jump on Khalifa, and such is the way the restart zones work here. It's Khalifa has got the jump on Khalifa, did I say?
Yep.
Yeah, I take it all back. Khalifa has done a really good restart. Such is the way the restart zones work here. They actually favour the leaders, so Khalifa well on his way. Yeah.
But look how quickly Casper's caught him with those essentially brand new soft compound tyres. He's only raced for 2 corners on them. So let's see if he can get past his teammate. Oh, big loss at the rear end though, as he headed through, and that will affect his whole run through Luffer. But even then, as he comes out of it, he's got the grip to make it back. So that Brooklyn's error is almost irrelevant. And Kieran can't keep up. Kieran's being dropped by these two. Now, let's see. I assume Casper's going to go for it, isn't he? He's going to have the grip. He'll be able to make the move.
Khalifa wide as well through Beckett. Sorry to interrupt, Owen, but I think Casper's going to have one shot at this. Is he going to get it done?
Wider. Khalifa is defending with his ERS, and Casper, if he really wants to send it into club or into the Vale chicane, then it would need quite a big dive, and I don't think he's going to do it. He's struggling with those brakes, you know. I feel like he needs to be putting that brake bias up just 1 or 2%, because the rear is looking just that wee bit shaky. Khalifa gets to the playoff point, but Casper is still very much racing him out here.
Absolutely. So that now makes Khalifa the championship leader. But here goes Casper into turn 3. Thinks about a move. There's just enough racing room left by Khalifa. And he retains the lead once again. Casper, we're staying on board with him apparently, according to Codemasters. He's all over the back of Khalifa, but he is also burning up those tyres as we speak. Kieran is starting to make inroads on the back of these two, who are now definitely fighting. Jake is 4th, Nick is 5th, and Ben Shaw is P6. But let's go back to Kieran. He's got a brilliant view of these two. How long can Khalifa hold him off for? You'd like to think in the next couple of laps the mediums will come to him as Kieran's softs go off. Through cops they go. Kieran struggles through it himself, but I think it's Casper who is the closer of the two. Owen Wyatt through Maggots and Beckett's.
I still don't think Casper's got his brake bias right. He just looks really shaky under braking. He doesn't look like he has any confidence in the car when he turns in. And it's costing him time. He's burnt nearly all of his ERS, and Khalifa is able to hold on where really he shouldn't have been able to. And I think Casper just needs to think of what he's doing. But Khalifa, wide. As I say that, has gone wide, but it doesn't really matter because Casper is going to pit and take some mediums, I would be guessing. Kieran stays out, Jake stays out, and Ben Shaw, I believe, is the only other car pitting at the moment, and Risky as well. And they're all mandatory stops, of course.
And that is 5 laps led for Khalifa, and it's the right sort of time, I think, to bring up about the all-time laps led. The current record is held by Arnaud de Grief on 495. Khalifa currently active 426 laps led, and they are the only two anywhere near in contention to lead 500 laps. Khalifa into sector 2 he comes. He would love to overtake Arnaud on another stat, wouldn't he?
Look at Jake, he might have a chance here, slipstreaming his way through Kieran, although he's actually making a conscious effort not to be sat in his slipstream, but he's definitely quicker than Kieran through pretty much every corner. As way off the road goes Kieran, and that'll put him out of DRS of Khalifa, so Jake will be getting past him, I'm almost certain of it, as he comes out of Chapel and onto said DRS zone. And you know what, there's no point even bothering to defend if you're Kieran. Just let him go and try and follow him through Khalifa once he gets there. Or are they going to be going into the pits? No, those two are going to stay on their softs. Ben Harrett's fallen a wee bit back from the field, actually. Corey behind him, pits, and everyone else on softs is going to keep going for another lap at the very least.
At the very least, as you say. And that, I just missed it.
We are seeing up here Ben Harrett, and there's no ghosting on.
Through they go. They split Ben Harrett down the middle.
They're going to crash, and Ryan goes Lesty. Doesn't hit anyone, but he is facing the wrong way round. So after avoiding the spinning Ben Harrett, he ends up colliding. I don't even know who it was. I want to say it was MK Bourne, possibly. But they've collided, and Ryan goes lefty, and obviously.
And now here's Kieran fighting Nick, by the way, for P3.
Yeah.
They've all closed back up to Khalifa and Jake. There is a four-way fight on our hands as Quinn finds himself in P5 once again in the Cup Series this season. But Kieran actually racing very smart, letting the faster guys through, but staying with him in the DRS. He's got a long way to go. But driving like that may well reward him later on. What can they do as they come through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel once again down to the hangar straight?
Jake does have DRS, but he has a horrendous run. I wonder if Nick has enough of an ERS advantage to think about making the move on Jake. I don't think he'll go for it, but he's looking a lot quicker. These mediums, as Pete gets by Quinn, these mediums are certainly looking to be a better tyre now. And with Jake staying out, Nick is going to have a bit of a difficult time passing him, but I think he will get him. And MK Bourne's on the back of Gareth as well. Those two were near enough where Ben was when he spun, so they've stuck together. And the top four all within DRS of each other. Khalifa's not really breaking away the way I sort of expected him to, and he's used most of his ERS as well.
Interesting.
And I wonder if Casper in all this free air will be able to take the lead, and he's dragging Ben Shaw with him, only 2.5 seconds back. Don't be surprised to see Ben Shaw up at the front.
Absolutely not. You never rule Ben Shaw out, even on a track he doesn't like. And the last time Casper was in front of him, you know what happened. But certainly Owen White makes a good point about Casper and Ben Shaw. Let's see what they can do come the end of the race. Another penalty, by the way, for Michael Okeke, but at least he's here. And remember, the second stage point is lap 19, so we could be in for a long haul. But of course, pit stop still to come from this top four. And Pete Knighton finding himself in a very good position, P5 at the moment.
Yes, he is, isn't he? I don't know if he's got pace, though. That's the issue. If he was on this top four train, I'd be saying he's got a chance to win it, but he needs to find a bit of pace in that car. As we see Nick looking on the inside of Jake. I think Khalifa's struggling with his pace, but that is helping Jake along.
There goes Jake.
As he gets into the pits, he didn't have to worry about fighting Nick there. Will Nick have a go at Khalifa on this lap? You've got to say it's a possibility.
Absolutely. Here he comes then. Lap 9. Khalifa's led them all so far. And that gap is still under a second. He is also bringing Kieran with him. So we'll go on board with Jake in a second, see where he comes out. Let's go for the moment, though, with Casper, who has a bit of a gap to Ben Shaw. He is now into the top 10. Of course, longest pit lane in JACKOCAR in terms of time here at Silverstone. And there's 3 cars in front of Casper. He'll jump straight back up to 7th. But Jake is the key one. How close are they going to be on the exit here? Here comes Casper through turn 1. Jake still coming up over the hill. Who's got it? It looks like Casper leads into turn 3 then. So you know he's in the fight for this race win.
And Ben Shaw, give him a couple of corners, he might just sneak into DRS. That's if Jake doesn't get it himself. He does. That might just stop Ben Shaw from catching as quick as he might have done. Now, I said about Nick having a go on Khalifa. The reason I'm saying that is because there's a 40% difference in their ERS levels, and it's Nick who's very much got the significant amount. So, let's see if he can make anything happen. He's not using it. He is going to save what he has. Kieran's not able to have a go at him. He's got about that 40% less as well. So Nick is driving a very good race here. And Khalifa, well, he's going to have to keep going, isn't he? But Kieran, I'm surprised he's still going. What on earth is his strategy? Is he waiting for a safety car?
I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe it doesn't really matter because of where the stage point is. You've got to go to softs at the end anyway, haven't you? With a 7-lap dash if you pit on lap 20.
If you're going to do this, start on mediums and do 2 softs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a weird strategy. It's a weird strategy because he's got the pace to keep up with these guys. You know what I mean?
It's working for him. So,
it's working for him, but the medium stint, surely he'll be slower against softs. That's what I'm thinking, but maybe it'll work out for him.
I imagine Owen he will pit this time by, I'd like to think, but he's actually got a run on Nick here. He's not going to use it, but he is still in contention, is young Kieran, as Khalifa goes wide into turn 6.
Now, I want to look at Jake, because he's about to have a look on Casper, and you've got to say this could be for the lead once all the pit stops are done. Of course, I'm guessing, will be against softs when Khalifa and Nick go on to them. But let's see if Jake can make it work. Down the inside into Brooklyn's a little bit wide on the entry. Luckily, Casper anticipated that and didn't end up colliding with the former champion, who moves up into what I would say is the net race lead.
Yep, the former two-time champion at that as well is Jake O'Sullivan. One of them here, one of them in Saudi Arabia. It was also his first win that night. Ben Shaw, though, has been dropped by those two. Maybe he'll be more of a factor later on, but certainly not guessing DRS has caught him out here. He's going to have to do it all through raw talent. And Kieran now pits, as I did rightfully call. And Nick is 0.8 of a second behind race leader Khalifa as it stands. It's lap 11 here in Silverstone.
I suppose with Kieran, the track or the tyre degradation isn't that bad around here, so perhaps he wasn't even losing that much speed. Maybe it made more sense for him than it looked, but we'll see where he comes out. He was able to hold on to that leading group, about 1.5 seconds off Khalifa, so we'll see what the gap is to Jake and Casper, and that'll give us an idea.
Kieran's
I'll
way
tell
down.
you what, even Ben Shaw's going to get him, so do you know what, you could even go out on a limb and say that Jake, Casper, Ben is just the top three now. Of course they'll get chased down, but this does sort of flip the script a little bit on this race. And look, I shouldn't actually discount Pete, because he does actually have a really healthy lead. He's got about 11.5 seconds. I mean, maybe that won't get caught. If he doesn't get a penalty, maybe that won't get caught.
Maybe
it's more than that. Sorry, it's more than that. It's 16 seconds.
Now is the time to say less, definitely, because we know the commentator's curse definitely exists. In fact, I'm not even going to ride on board with him anymore. We're just going to leave him to it. Good luck, Pete. We'll see you very soon. Khalifa is going to pit this time by. He's going to bring Nick with him. It will actually put Pete into the lead.
Oh,
Pete, by the way,
Khalifa speeds. That's a penalty.
Massive moment.
I would argue that that's a race killer unless he gets a safety car pit stop later on for his second stop. But Pete, as he comes round, he's going to take the lead. Will he be able to stretch the tyres out long enough to take the stage point, or is he just more focused on getting the win?
I think the win's more important here, isn't it? Because the win is also worth 10 points if he can do a pure joker.
Yeah.
10 playoff points, that is.
Which
Gareth,
I would
by
say,
the way,
I'd say it's possible. I know we don't want to talk about it, but I reckon the gap is about 16 seconds. He can go a second a lap slower than everyone else and still win the race, assuming there's no safety cars.
Stop talking. By the way, Ben Shaw ahead of Khalifa and Nick.
So
that's the gap.
As we expected, really. But I think the onus now is on Nick to make the moves. I would say, if it doesn't work out for Pete, that Nick has become, let's say, the dark horse, because you don't expect him to be winning a JACKOCAR race. But we know he's very quick. Jake's on mediums, which aren't as quick as softs, naturally. The softs will not degrade as much. The issue is there's 4 cars in between the two of them, isn't there? So that's what he'll have to worry about. And now we can actually get an official number on the gap between Pete and Jake. It's 13.8. It was 16 to Casper. I was looking at the wrong number. But that's the gap that Pete will be able to see on his screen. He knows what to do from here.
Yep.
Says
keep
the
a 13-second gap.
Not watched him win a race since season 1. But hey, listen, he might not win it tonight, but he might win it. He might not. He might. We'll see. I mean, Jacko predicted it earlier in the week, didn't he? As Khalifa passes Ben Shaw, that's 1 down.
I was just going to say, Owen, a little one on Nick here. This is his 9th JACKOCAR race, so not very many.
Only 9?
Only 9 of best finish of P3. What's happening behind? Look at this, 3 wide into Stowe, who comes out on top. It's Risky who's lost out, but it's Leroy and Michelle still fighting 2 by 2. And it's Michelle who gets the win there. Into P12 he goes. Good move from the Dutchman. Will he hold on to that? Let's go back to the smallest gap on track. It's Khalifa and Casper, the ERT boys. Casper goes wide.
I wonder if possibly Khalifa's tapped the rear there of Casper, because that was a weird place to go on board. Khalifa was sort of halfway towards the corner. There's no mark on his car, but maybe he didn't tap him. It just looked like maybe there was a nudge. But either way, that's the difference in the tyres, because Khalifa's just so much quicker than his teammate. And, Nick, you got to find a way through these cars. They're all starting to fight in front of you. There's a race winning it for you, and he's saving all his DRS. He is driving a very, very clever race.
And what
But
would
he's
it
got to
mean
make the
for...
overtakes. Look at this in front of him, because they're all coming up on each other. Oh, he's too quick. He's got to... Yeah, he's backing off. That's the correct thing to do, because anything could happen in front of him here, Nick. He is... Honestly, I think he's driving really well here, because in front of him, it's Casper just having a mare. He's going to get done by possibly all three of them. But let's see if Nick can possibly spy a gap right on the outside of Ben Shaw. And he will just about, and he'll have the grip on the brakes to get through, and then it's just about passing Kieran either into turn 3 or into Brooklands on the DRS. But do you know what? Nick, very patient, didn't use much ERS, got through 2 cars in that lap. And whatever's going on with Casper, it's again his brake bias, which I'm still saying is not looking very good, that's making him struggle here, but he's just falling off the pace at the moment.
Yep, Nick then 2 out of 3. And Casper, as you say, all the way down in P9. By the way, touching back on Pete, it's 126 races since he last won in JACKOCAR. But we're not going to bring it up. We're going to go to the gap at the front. He has extended over Gareth, but the gap to Jake has come down a fair margin. Both of them have to pit again. And I wonder, but I'm going to wonder no more. We're going to go to the Ben Shaw fight. I believe this is the closest on track at the moment. It is Ben and Casper. In fact, it's Nick and Kieran.
Yeah, Nick
Yep,
didn't
here we
use
are,
DRS.
in cops.
Didn't use any DRS on the or ERS on the Wellington straight. That's why I haven't got through. But it means, of course, you can save it. The thing with the ERS here, why I'm so impressed by this, is that once you use the ERS, it's incredibly difficult to get it back. Which is why you'll see all the drivers who don't have much left, they're not going to get it back. And
so easy.
Yeah, that's 60% left of the ERS and you're making easy overtakes. It couldn't be a better situation for you. And that's
OKK
a crash
in the
for OKK and Ben Harrett with him. Safety car deployed.
Oh. And look at this, Pete Knighton's just missed the pit lane as well. Did he want to pit there?
Doesn't really matter. I don't think he'll get a chance to pit at the end of this lap anyways. He's passed the safety car, which, well, it gives him the opportunity to lead this race now with making his last stop. The joys of this pit stop system. This works out, actually, perfectly for him. He'll be able to put sauce on here. They'll get to the end. We saw with Kieran, they'll get to the end.
And
He'll
the others.
have a 30-second lead when everyone pits. Again, we're not going to mention it, but
he just has to. We're not going to mention it, but he just has to stay out of trouble
to
because the others
do anything stupid.
Cannot pit until lap 20. He's the only joker. He has the advantage of pitting whenever he wants. Pete Knighton in the box seat. Say no more, Owen Wyatt.
Okay, let's
not say no more.
Gareth in second place. Has he pitted yet? He's not pitted. He can pit during this safety car. And that will give him a little bit of a better track position. Not as good as he had when he nearly won the Joker here and it ended up all going wrong with 2 laps ago. But Pete, as a speed teammate, should learn from his mistake. Gareth didn't pit when he should have, and it cost him. Pete is going to pit. Gareth, I would expect to follow him in, and this will bring him up the field on some nice fresh tyres. What are you doing? You've got to pit! Have you not learned from last time?
Glory. He's going for glory as Gareth.
But you could get real glory, you moron. You could have just pitted. You skip half the track. Half the track is on a delta, and you're skipping half of it when you go into the pits. It's just... why would you do that? Because it just doesn't make any sense, man. You could have gone for glory properly.
Unless it's classic team speed fashion, he's being a team player here because look at the cars directly behind Gareth.
That is a very good point.
I'm going to reel them off to you. Jake O'Sullivan, Khalifa with 5-second penalty, no less. Nick Egan, who has been rapid so far. Kieran Spears, Ben Shaw, Corey Dalton, massive names in this. And Gareth is the plug in the sink at the moment.
Has to be said, if there was a biggest winner, it would be Pete. If there were a second biggest winner, it would be Nick. Because this closes the gap for him in terms of Jake and Cleaver, who's obviously got the penalty anyway. I'm telling you, if and when it goes wrong for Pete, Nick is going to be right there, ready to take it.
Yeah, and don't forget everyone, they all, apart from this man, Pete Knighton, all have to pit from lap 20 onwards. So there's going to be cars sharing pit boxes. They're going to be getting speeding penalties going into the pit lane, crashes on the exit. It's all going to unfold here in Silverstone.
I always think back to how admittedly boring the Season 7 Championship 5 was. It's the only dud we've ever had here. Like, what was wrong with them that day? This is setting up to be a fantastic last 10 laps.
And you know what? Khalifa's going to be taken out of contention because when he pits, that penalty will be served. So it just opens the door, doesn't it, for Nick to attack Jake? Unless they're sharing pit boxes, but we don't know.
It does open it up for Nick, but the thing is, we know Khalifa is so fast, though. Maybe he was just tempering his pace earlier on. I don't know. He'll be able to fly through these cars if he absolutely needs to. Gareth, as you say, is just going to go for glory now. He's committed to the bit now. But, well, look, maybe he thinks he'll get through to the playoffs anyway, but I don't know. I know he likes
he always finds a way, doesn't he, to Gareth?
I know he likes his fun, but purely from a racer's point of view, you're going to create all the entertainment in the world by leading from the front. But you got to think about yourself sometimes, lad. And that I don't know. I felt there was an opportunity there for him, but we'll see what happens. There could be another safety car yet.
Yep, and the safety car, I fully anticipate.
There will be.
you know it's coming.
I'll tell you what, there could even be red flags. Mandatories, do they count under red flags?
Yes, they do.
Do you know, maybe
providing they've pitted under green or still make a green flag stop, yes, the red flag stop would count as a mandatory.
So actually that wouldn't really help Gareth, would it, at all? But
it would if it come out before lap 20. So it needs to happen on lap 18, basically.
Yeah,
18 or 19.
The rest have made green flag stops, so haven't they? So it wouldn't.
So Gareth, yeah, very true. My apologies.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So basically, yeah, there's no scenario here where he wins. But mind you would have said that in Portugal, and then I made him win. So, but I'm not on the track today, so actually ignore that point.
As we always say, anything can happen here in JACKOCAR. Thursday nights have been an absolute gem for us. We've very rarely ever had a bad race, and the ones that are bad races are normally made up for. And I tell you what, Spa, even though it wasn't bad, Silverstone so far is 3, 4, 5 times better, and we still have an ending to come. 10 laps to go. Goodness knows what's going to happen. Goodness knows who's going to win. 18 cars still in it, and I fully anticipate the safety car to come in at the end of this lap as the drivers warm their tyres up before they are not allowed to warm their tyres up. It's going to be a late call here, isn't it? Or are we going to wait for Sullivan Lewis, who is a long way back? He's just building the tension for us. Is it going to be late? It's not going to be late. It's going to be one more lap.
That's going to build the tension even more for these guys. This will be painful for each and every one of these drivers out here. But
it does make you wonder why Gareth hasn't pitted away, other than him to, like I say, hold things up for Pete.
The thing is, Gareth's only going to be able to hold on for 2 laps now. He might well pick off the playoff point as a result of that, in fairness.
He will, it's guaranteed at this point.
But this does, and look, I know we don't want to talk about it, but every lap this safety car stays out is a lap that Pete gets a better advantage, because it now means he'll be glued to this group. They'll all pit after 1 lap, and he'll have the whole track to himself, instead of possibly waiting for 2 or 3 laps and getting involved in an incident. Of course, he could still get involved in one, but I'm sure he's got someone in his ear telling him what to do.
We've never been this close.
Because as much as he's a good driver and all that, he hasn't won in so long. Sometimes you will get a bit flustered. We know he can win. He's done it before. He's won championships, but it has been 8 seasons since we last saw him win.
Let me put that into context.
He almost won in the Kia Series, of course, but he let you win it. Well, he didn't mean to let you win it, but he let you win it in Saudi.
But it's not a cup race. But let me put 8 seasons into context for you, Owen, with 2 words. 4 years.
Yes. 4 years is a very, very long time. And, you know, it's 4 years, it's 5 games.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
A whole new generation of cars has been here. It's just 4th season with this gen of cars. It's just... Is it 4th season already with these cars? That's mad.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
But Yeah, he's just not. It's just not come together for him. But look, it wouldn't be unlike a speed driver to lose it on a Joker here. So let's just wait and see what happens.
Let's not ruin it. The safety car is in this lap. Ben Harrop, Sullivan Lewis, Michael O'Keke have all caught up. They're all on the freshest of the fresh, those tyres. But the attention, and I'm sorry for you guys at the back, the attention is on the drivers at the front. By the way, Gareth Hall has never won a stage in JACKOCAR's Cup Series. This, believe it or not, will be his first ever playoff point. I'm going to very quickly add lap 18. In fact, it's not even confirmed, is it? Because it's lap 19. He has to lead the lap. So he still hasn't won a stage point, kids.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? This just makes his strategy sound even weirder. He must just be out there to try and ruin his teammates' rivals' races, but since he's in the middle of the pack, his teammate, he could very easily become collateral damage.
You know what? I'm very tempted to go on board with Pete Knighton. Rather than watch the restart.
Well, if you want to do that, shall I cover the restart?
You call the restart and I'll stay with Pete.
Happens.
So strap in, folks. Enjoy Owen's radio comms. We're about to go on board with Pete Knighton on this restart. It's 9 laps to go in Silverstone. Owen Wyatt.
So Gareth approaches the restart zone. I suspect he's going to leave this as late as humanly possible. And he's very, very slow through the final two corners. Look at him crawling round.
Look how much
very,
room.
Very well behaved behind him, though.
Look how much room Pete Knighton is giving.
He's away, and I tell you what, it's a very nice gap he's got as well. There is yellow flags. I don't think that's for anything. It's just because they were all so slow through there. Through turn 1 they go. No one looking to fight just yet. It's all about really turn 2, isn't it? As I see Jake going right round the outside and getting pushed wide and off the track, and they're very much getting the treatment they expected as Khalifa goes straight through into the lead, gets 2 cars in 1 corner, and Nick is following him through. Jake, that's the big move. Frankly, if Gareth gets in the way, it doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't cause him any damage, because round the outside goes Nick. Can he get himself through into second place? Not quite. Khalifa's got a 5-second penalty, remember, so he wants to get down the road and quickly. Side by side we see Ben and we see Kieran as well. I'd be surprised if they do anything stupid though. Round the outside though, here comes Nick. Oh, he's being pushed right to the curb. What a move this would be. They're wheel binding all the way through Cops Corner and again on the exit. Nick falling down the field. No damage, I don't think. But here goes round the outside again. Jake back up into second place. Khalifa now up to 2 seconds clear. And we see, it all just congesting in the middle of the pack. Yeah. Now, where's Nick actually ended up? He's ended up in Narnia, but now we've got 2 more side-by-side fights. Kieran up into second place, or into third, I should say. 3 wide into Stowe corner, and it's Gareth being hung out to dry. He can't pit. He's trying to pit. Oh my goodness, he's crashed his teammate off. I can't believe it's happened, but it has. Pete Knighton is not going to win this race. Surely not. I mean, he can pit under the safety car and take his mandatory, of course, but everyone else can too. And it's Gareth who's done his own teammate in. What did I say? He could become collateral damage. OKK is out of the race, by the way. He's the one who crashed out just there in the background, I believe, to bring this all out. But, who wins this now out of all this? Because Nick has been screwed over, really, by all the messing about. I mean, Jake, you've got to say, he's the sort of going to inherit this, isn't he? They'll all pile into the pits. Khalifa's 5-second penalty. I'm not sure you can take it under a safety car, but if you can, as he does pick up the playoff point, remember that. He will tumble though, won't he?
Gutted isn't the word, is it?
I think Gareth...
I was just going to say, I caught Gareth's move into the pit lane. I didn't know what car it was that was involved. I didn't want it to be Pete Knighton, but it was Pete Knighton. He's down in P16. I wonder if he tries to stay out on a glory run with 75% of his front wing. But he's down in P16 and he knows that's a race-winning opportunity that's been taken away from him. Gareth, meanwhile, has pitted and is actually back in this race, although he's not because he has to make a green flag stop. So the race is over for both of those.
If you're on a Joker, can you make a mandatory stop under safety car?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
So maybe, but everyone else is going to make a safety car stop here, that's the thing.
Hold on a minute. Hold on, let me just...
Owen Wyatt is just going to get out the rule book to see.
Sorry, I'm just remembering, really. It's just if Pete can live with it, if he can live with the damage, then, I don't know. maybe he can still win it. I mean, it would need another safety car or a
Khalifa
red
pits.
flag.
Look at them here, Owen.
Because, well, this is it. Everyone's going to pit, aren't they? Except Pete,
Jacko
if he
Sullivan.
wants to win. Yeah, so Pete will lead the race again, as I expected. But it's just, it's a crash. They're all crashing in there. You're going to have to cover all that. But Pete, as he comes around the final corner, is going to retake the lead. He's going to have, I don't know what colour his wing is. Gareth is going to become the blocker again. Somehow this has just got more interesting. Right, so Jake comes out the net leader of the chasing pack. Kieran will be second, Ben third, Corey ahead of Khalifa, Nick. Wow, he's down in 11th now. That's a disaster, isn't it? But Casper's put the hards on, so Casper's going to be livid. I think there's a penalty in there for a lot of these drivers as well. Let's just try and figure that out. 5 seconds for Ben Shaw, 3 seconds for MK Bourne, 8 seconds for Yuri, 10 for Casper, and he's on the hards. That's race over for him. Lesty, Ben Harra, and Risky all on 3. So just to be absolutely clear of what's about to happen here, we're about to watch Pete Knighton, hopefully maybe from the end of the next lap onwards, so possibly for just 4 laps, trying to win this race with a broken front wing on a joker, with his teammate who broke the front wing being his rear blocker.
And Gareth will block as well, but don't forget, Owen, just to make things a little bit more annoying for us, Gareth has to make a green flag stop or
no, he doesn't.
Risk disqualification.
He'll get himself disqualified happily if he's put his teammate in this position. There'll be at least a tiny bit of guilt. He's put new softs on, hasn't he? He'll be quick. He'll be quick.
He'll be quick.
The problem is
he'll be quicker than Pete.
The problem is, the slowest car in the field is going to be the race leader, and by some distance. Look, right. For now, I'm going to retract my statement that Pete will not win this race, but it is very, 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 very unlikely. There could well be side pod damage as well.
I tell you what, Owen. Other than Jake, Pete has 3 speed cars directly behind him. They are going to orchestrate, team speed. They're going to orchestrate a Pete Knighton win. It's not out the question. But you've got Jacko Sullivan, you've got Corey. Khalifa's 5 seconds is now gone. There's some fast drivers on one of the fastest tracks. You just don't know. Casper, by the way, is getting rid of one of his 5-second penalties. This is not over by any means, and as the safety car laps tick down with Pete Knighton in the lead, it's looking more and more likely. It was so nearly taken away from us, but it's so nearly back in our hands. 4-year wait for Pete Knighton to win a race. Is it going to come to an end tonight?
Well, no. I'm gonna predict no. At this point, it's so unlikely. The driver I'm now going to look at is the thing is Gareth's going to be laser focused on Jake.
Look at Risky. He's pitting for no reason. He's doing this on purpose.
Or whatever.
Or to hold the safety car
up. You're right. Good point.
Of course I'm right. Been here far too long.
Casper's the one doing it for penalties. Sorry, that's why I got confused.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, so Gareth's going to be laser focused on Jake, right? Gareth and Jake, that's what he'll be thinking about. And he'll be thinking, well, all the other speed drivers, they're in there. Corey and Khalifa are going to be going for the win. And they're 2 ERT drivers together. And let's be honest, Khalifa's the quicker of the 2. So, look, I know I'm an ERT driver and you're going to call me biased, but if we're looking at this purely on who actually has the best chance of not being hindered here by what games Gareth's going to play, it's going to be the man who wasn't hindered last time, and that was Khalifa. We saw Jake was very much hampered by it. So, eyes on Khalifa when Gareth messes this all up. This could be where we see our red flag.
Sorry, I'm just on board with Mr. Sullivan Lewis, and I'm looking at how slow he's going. He's forcing an extra lap of the safety car. It doesn't matter. The safety car is in this lap. It's race on. It's going to be 4 to go when we get going. Pete Knighton leads in Silverstone, his home Grand Prix, the Season 1 champion. 4 years of hurt. Can he finally climb to the top step? Owen Wyatt,
I've got a question.
I'm going to let you call this restart.
Very quickly, question. Is there anything stopping Gareth just not going when Pete goes?
Other than some sort of penalty. I don't know the penalty. I'm not going to call it on stream. We'd have to refer to the rule book. You've already said he's not going to pit. He'll throw a potential disqualification against his name.
Well, he will, because
to
it's
help
his
Pete
fault
until he can no longer
that
help.
Pete is in this position.
I'll tell you what. Let me call this restart as we see Yuri pit. Gareth has left a 5-car gap. He's absolutely entitled to do that. And away goes Pete Knight. He's got a huge gap to restart here at Silverstone. Where's Jake O'Sullivan? Already down the inside of Gareth. Wall puts him in the wall at turn 1. Is there contact? No. And Gareth remains in P2. But look at Jake O'Sullivan. Can he go into the inside of turn 3? Yes, he can. That's job done. Now, focus on Pete Knight and Owen Wyatt. What can we do? But Kieran's up the inside of Jake.
It's surely going to someone else. How does he avoid the rest of the field? Ben gets through. So, can Ben chase after Jake? That'll be the next question, because Gareth is going to start falling down the field. Pete is 1.2 seconds in front. We do have a yellow flag. If I'm a speed driver, I'm looking for another safety car here to try and help. As we see a retirement for Michel Goris and a safety car. So it does get Jake closed right up, though. That's the problem. Ben Shaw, you have to do the move of all moves to help your teammate out, because we're going to go green possibly at the end of the next lap for a 2-lap
I imagine it could even be this lap. We've been here before. Remember when we used to race short tracks? And we had that late safety car?
I remember back to Miami, though, the one time in Season 6, Race 100, where it did actually stay out right until the final lap. It happens rarely, but it can happen. So we'll see, because they haven't caught the safety car yet. The safety car's on track, so it can't come in this lap.
That's very true.
So,
wow.
What happens now then? Is there anything that Team Speed can do to help Pete out? No one's going to pit really, are they, at this point? There's no real point. Unless you're someone who's got a penalty you want to get rid of. Obviously, Ben's not going to do that.
You start to get the impression that Jake O'Sullivan saw that move coming from Kieran up the inside. He strong-armed his way through to hold on to P2, did Jake, because he absolutely knew it was coming. And at the moment, I'd say Jake is probably in the best position to win this race. However, what can Ben Shaw do with a fast Corey Dalton behind?
So, does Yuri just stay slow? Do we try this trick again, where we keep the safety car out another lap? Because if we can get the thing is, right, DRS is not out of the question. That's already a potentially crucial thing to note. But if we can only have one lap of racing, that would, do you know what I mean? That would actually make this viable.
Yeah, and of course you can make your final mandatory pit stop on the final lap. I believe. I think that's in the rules. There's the penalties, by the way, everyone. Ben Shaw with 5 seconds that, if he wanted to, he could get rid of.
Do you know what?
Provided he doesn't follow a safety car in. Go on.
Gareth is only 3 cars behind Jake. I mean, it would be incredibly cynical a foul, but he could do it. Do you know what I mean? He could just throw it up the inside to turn 3 and just bulldoze his way through.
He could.
Again, I've sort of
saw
done
how
that in
aggressive he
Portugal
was
by accident, but it does happen.
It does happen. We knew Gareth was going to be aggressive on the restart, but he did also leave enough respect for Jake to continue racing on. You saw Jake run wide into turn 1, which then allowed Kieran to come back at him in turn 3. Safety car in this lap. And, well, remember what I said, 126 races of hurt. We're not going to mention it, though. Pete Knighton leads in Silverstone.
Let me check Jake's warnings, just in case. He has got 2 warnings. I mean, I suppose how would Pete know that? But if someone if he can go and get himself a penalty here, Jake, that again would also help, because Ben would be a good rear gunner. It's just the fact that Jake is going to spoil the party here unless anything dramatic happens. But it's JACKOCAR. I mean, listen, we don't bet. Ben Shaw's the reigning champion. What am I talking about? Of course he can go for a move.
And don't forget, Pete Knighton's Joker, if he converts it, is still on.
Yes.
He's on for 10 playoff points. And guess what, guys? It's going to be, this time around, 2 laps to go. What I will say, hold your breath. Strap in, hold on, because is going to be hectic. It's a sprint finish in Silverstone. 2 to go then in Great Britain. Pete Knighton leads his way down to turn 1. Thank you to the viewers who are joining us. What can Jake O'Sullivan do? Can Ben Shaw get involved? Corey and Gareth and Khalifa are all going to be there as well. Let's go on board with Jake O'Sullivan, and turn 2 gets a lot of sausage. And Pete Knighton puts a strong arm out to Jake O'Sullivan. He's going to run him wide as he on the exit. This is totally fine. He can do this. And their cars are connected. Ben Shaw leads the race, and through goes Corey. Does he want to try and win this race? And look at Gareth now on the inside of Jake O'Sullivan, and we go off board down into turn 5. Owen Wyatt.
So Corey now leads the Grand Prix. He's been hit though by Ben, and he's going to be pushed all the way around the corner, 3 wide. Look at Jake O'Sullivan, what a move. Pete is falling down the field. Khalifa's got through now. You could say the win's probably gone, which means these 3 are going to be fighting absolutely to the line. Top 2, no penalties. Khalifa, we know how quick he is. And, well, yeah, it's over for Pete, isn't it? Let's just see if he gets into his teammate. He will go off the road. He's going to finish right at the back. Let's see as Jake has a look down the back straight. Ben not under pressure from Khalifa, so you would argue it is going to be between Corey, who, look, I said one of the ERT would get there. I thought, admittedly, it'd be Khalifa, but it is Corey up there. Can Jake do anything?
And Owen, don't forget, of course, we all forgot about it in the restart. Pete Knighton did have that wing damage, but one thing to focus on. It's 1 lap to go in Silverstone, and it's Corey Dalton who finds himself leading at home, but he's followed by a train of very, very fast drivers, including Leroy, Nick Khalifa, Ben Shaw and Jake O'Sullivan. It's unfortunate for Pete, but can Corey Dalton go on and win what would be his 7th race in the Cup Series all those years?
There's a simply enormous accident happening, by the way, turn 1.
Also, there is Pete Knighton, Kieran Spears out of this race. More points for those guys at the back. Gareth is making his green flag stop perfectly legal as Corey is on the run down to turn 5. He's got a bit of a gap. It's not a huge gap. Is it enough of a gap for Corey to book himself into the Season 9 playoffs, the penultimate season here in JACKOCAR? On to the old pit straight they come then, as we look back at the chasing Jake O'Sullivan. He's not going to get DRS. What about Cops? ERS though, yeah, I'm not looking. There's very little on screen.
Big trouble.
Let's go on board with Jake O'Sullivan. It's going to be Maggots and Beckett's. You can do a bumper and run move. Don't forget, they're both wide through Maggots. Who can hold on? Who has the balls to go for it down into Stowe? Is a penalty for Yuri. Stand down, everyone. Here comes Jake O'Sullivan for a move for the race win on Corey, who goes to the right. Jake O'Sullivan round the outside. This is for the race win. This is for a place in the playoffs. Jake O'Sullivan is through. What will Corey do into the final corner? Ben Shaw is there as well. Will Corey send it? No, he won't. I think he's going to leave it to the end. And Jake O'Sullivan is going to romp home to victory here in Silverstone. He's in the playoffs. The 2-time champion has done it here in Silverstone. What a shame for the likes of Pete Knighton and Nick Egan. They've had great races, but it's Jake O'Sullivan back on top. Hit once again in JACKOCAR.
Leroy there sneaks into 4th place, just 4/10 off a podium. Keeping his nose clean, he was near the back most of the race, so good stuff from him there. That crash at turn 1 was Kieran and Casper coming together, and then Pete just drove into them. So, yeah, look, I hate to be disappointed by it, but it is a shame to see that it was actually the ERT, it was the speed drivers who ruined their own win there. Because if Gareth had just not crashed into him, then it wouldn't have possibly caused the safety car in the first place. And I know KK was crashing, but I think the actual safety car was caused by Gareth's meddling with everyone, and I just you know what I mean? Just disappointing noises, because that is a run-of-the-mill winner in a race that it could easily have been the most memorable win you'll ever see.
126.
Well done,
126 races of hurt becomes 127, and probably the most painful of those 127 for Pete Knighton, who ends up as a DNF here in Silverstone, 1 lap down according to the game. But it's Jake O'Sullivan, P1, Corey, who lost the win on the final lap and gave enough respect to Jake to not end his race. Khalifa is 3rd, Leroy 4th, good result for him. Nick clawing his way back to 5th. Ben Shaw with that penalty puts him down to 6th. And then, of course, it's Mike and Quinn, another top 10 for him. Leslie, the Kia driver, in P9. Casper, after a decent start, is P10. The rest of them, Owen Wyatt, is Ben Harrett, Yuri Haslager, Gareth, I believe, last of the finishers. Or did Risky have a penalty? I think he did. Kieran Pete, Michelle, Okeke, and Deck, all the retirements. Almost a classic.
Yeah, nah, it was still a classic. It was still good. It was still good, but ERT would never do that. ERT better than Team Speed. We wouldn't take each other out just to ruin the race. But well, that's how it goes. I think Corey will be absolutely delighted, despite getting overtaken on the last lap, because he has mugged most of the field there to take P2.
With that, Corey becomes the points leader as well. just a little one for that. And also,
quote here from Gareth Hall, by the way. I gave my life for Pete to win tonight, and he drove into me.
By the way, it should be said as well, Jake O'Sullivan, with that win, it's number 12. He goes level with Arnold de Grief. So another win for another big name. Any final thoughts, Owen Wyatt, before we leave everybody and come back for round 4 next week, which is at... I'm not going to tell you.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, my last words is that now Khalifa the strategist is going to rub it in for Pete, and I'm also going to, because it is true, if he had just pitted when the crash happened, he would have won the race. But, oh, well, he didn't. He didn't pit, Pete, on that last safety car. He was right at the pit lane with a broken front wing, and he drove back onto the track. No, well, what can you do? But it was fun to be back in the commentary box, and I've been here since Chapter 5. I'm not avoiding the league, in case anyone's wondering. It's just because Jacko doesn't want me as often.
Absolutely true. So there you are, folks. JACKOCAR, consistent as ever. A brilliant race. Jake O'Sullivan race win. And heartbreak for Pete Knighton. What more could you want? We'll see you next week.